Okay, so let's go ahead and we had installed VCSA. We have initially started configuring VCSA. Let me go through the backgrounds then. Okay, let's switch up this. VCSA deployed. Now what? Stage 2 after logging in successfully, then we will do the following. Yeah, remotely connect to 651. First changes. Okay, that is all done. We were going through the VCSA configurations, but we also talked about the resource pools. So after resource pools, we need to go ahead and talk about uh, the VApp. So some of the smaller topics, then very critical topic of that virtual switch. So we're going to understand networking of VMware, and maybe you've already started networking. Maybe you've not about Azure, and then VNets that you create there and subnets that you create there. Obviously, this one is it's a bit different because it's on premises. It's still virtualization, software defined networking. So resource pools we talked about. Then there is VApp and virtual machine management as well. That's virtual. And then there is virtual standard switch. It's not just a mind switch. It's you can manage it, and there are so many features inside the virtual standard switch. Those who are coming from Cisco background, networking background, would understand. And then there is also its central uh, management, uh, you know, partner, and which is distributed switch. But this is the standard switch. What's the difference between distributed switch and standard switch? We're going to talk about that too, but obviously after uh, after these messages. So after we have gone through some of the more basic topics, when you get a job in a company, so even the desktop support guys are given VMware environments as well. Suppose you do mention in your resume that I know Azure Cloud, AWS Cloud, Microsoft 365 services like Azure Active Directory, Exchange Online, critical teams you need to know. And also, uh, this Intune. Intune is a must-know service feature. So those who want to, I just finished the Intune course online with all the labs. Kind of reckless type of labs. Like we went so step by step, and at home we did everything. So that's very useful for your resume. So let me know on WhatsApp, and I'll give you free access to the step-by-step lab for Microsoft Intune, through which you can handle thousands of devices. Anyway, from the cloud. Now let's just go ahead with what we were doing. So here, the resource pools, we reserve most critical two things that all virtual machines fight for. What are those two most critical things? Or are CPU and RAM, right? Now, resource pools, this was that you manually configure a resource pool for a virtual machine or group of virtual machines, and then you can say that, okay, this much CPU and this much RAM must all times be provided to my these two virtual machines or this virtual machine or that virtual machine. But then there is another advanced form of this resource pool, and that is DRS, Distributed Resource Scheduler. That does the whole thing automatically. So, but what is then VApp? Okay, obviously we're going to be talking about DRS. It's I can say grandfather of resource pools in terms of services and wisdom. Wisdom. Right. Okay. So, what is VApp then? What are virtual machine management? Before we go there, let's just check our environment. I remotely just connect to my desktop and open the VMware workstation. So, um, it's 2 GB first virtual machine that is already suspended, like frozen. So that resource pool that we were talking about in the class previous session is still there. And I froze the machine or suspended the machine. I'm just going to resume and exactly resume from there. But obviously, it's running out of ESXi1, so I need to start or resume ESXi1 as well. So here, exactly where we were talking about resource pool before, and this is uh, exactly that page. So my suggestion always is those who are following the labs that you have to um, make sure that you suspend, especially this E6I1. Otherwise, it will take forever to start this machine if you had to start from shutdown, or if you start 15-20 minutes before the class, then it's okay. Otherwise, suspend and resume, and it should be exactly starting where background services don't take time to start. They're just started. They're unfrozen. Okay, once this is done, right? And yeah, this is up. This is up. Others, yeah, I do need 4 GB, 4 GB. Okay. Zoom. In cloud also you have to take care of what CPU, RAM, storage, and high availability features are you selecting, because it's going to charge you. Here you have to take care of the on premises, you have to take care of the hardware, underlying hardware, because virtual machines would always fight for more and more CPU, more and more RAM, and you have to see that they're not going over the capacity or over what you are providing in the underlying hardware. They always tend to go beyond that. Virtual machines during the peak hours of between 10 to 2. Virtual machines, there's so many users connected and they are doing all types of tasks there. So CPU and RAM are always fighting during those hours. So I'm going to go back to this.
Sayed, sorry,
Yeah.
one question. Sorry, I shut down my machine last time. So do I have to restart ESXi 2 and 3 as well?
You shut down all the machines, right? Yes. If it was exactly in this configuration state where my machines are, then yes, I have to start all four.
All three of them.
I started four of them. So yeah, all four.
And how do I go back to this vSphere? So inside that Win first main machine,
Yeah,
so I
sure.
need to
I'm just
start
I'm
reset.
refreshing it. I'm gonna show you now. But you have the URL here, which is the the whole machine name / UI until here. If you type http //csa1 dot your first name home dot local / lowercase UI.
Yes, I do
If you
have
type
that.
that, you will go there. It should be already cached in the browser, so when you start typing, it should be there.
Yeah, it's there.
And then click advanced and proceed to the CSA. Okay, so I'm just gonna type here administrator at vsphere.local and last password. So let me see, there is /123 and go. Okay, so I'm inside and I need to confirm if the VCSA is communicating with ESXi2 and ESXi3. Right? So how would I know that? Um, there it is. So if I just close it, so it's like if I just close the whole thing and just start expanding. So we created a folder under the Canada folder. We created a Toronto data center or data center we created, and under that we added the host E6i2. We created a folder US and created a data center called NYDC, and added the host E6i3. So you don't need actually two data centers. Just showing, suppose it was a big environment, so that's how it would have been divided, and you would have used folders like this. And later, obviously, I'm going to be moving E6i3 to to RDC as well, Toronto Data Center, for many of the advanced features to explore. I'm going to go ahead and so this is ESXi2 where we were talking about the resource pool. If I expand the ESXi2 under the Toronto data center, so we created sales VMs resource pool, right? So that's a resource pool. Then there is another feature which is VApp. So if I right click on the hypervisor itself within the vCenter, and you right click and you can see that you can create more resource pools, you can create new VApp. What is a VApp? So VApp is um, VApp is just a grouping of virtual machines for the sake of maintenance and management. I'll just quickly write that one liner here. So it is a grouping of virtual machines for the sake of management and maintenance. Benefit is that we are able to start, restart, shut down the VMs together at the same time, or we'll put them in order and the change the order of shutdown as well. Is the order uh, for these tasks as well. So suppose you have 20 virtual machines there, and those virtual machines, when you are, maybe you need to put some kind of update there, right? So I'm just gonna grab this and also start this and put this. All right. Okay, so suppose you have a lot of virtual machines, and those virtual machines have some kind of application inside, maybe a web server, maybe some other type of applications, maybe databases there, maybe file server, print server. So whichever application you have, suppose when you do an update on this machine, update on this machine, update on this machine, update on this machine, but you want them to restart together. So you can put them inside a VApp, and then just press the button on the VApp, and whatever machines are attached to the VApp will restart together. Or you want that first this machine restart, and after certain time, 120 seconds, then this machine should restart. Then after 120 seconds, then this machine should restart, and then after 120 seconds, this machine should restart. Well, we both like four. And you update updates, right? So this means that you can change the order of the machine. You can put them in order of however you want it. VApp is just grouping of machines to start, restart, shut down them either simultaneously or in different order or whatever order you like. right? So that's one thing. And second thing is VApp also it also supports the configuration of also supports the configuration of resource pools. So either you can separately configure resource pools, but if you are configuring virtual machines or grouping virtual machines together in a VApp, why don't you just configure the their RAM and CPU parity as well? Those you are grouping them together anyway. Why don't you just do that CPU and RAM reservation as well? You can do that too if you want. It's optional. Either just create a separate resource pool and reserve CPU and RAM for the virtual machines, or since you're grouping them together in the VApp, the resource pool feature is also available in VApp. Right? So if we go ahead and actually create, let's go for right click on the hypervisor and go for new V and app. Yeah. So create a new VApp. Yeah. It's a very small feature, but no big deal. Maybe it's MKT department. Yeah, right? Suppose. So it's marketing department, select TODC, that's the data center. Next. It says, oh, you want to configure resource pool while you're grouping the machines together. So up to you. You want to configure it here. You want to just separately configure resource pools, up to you. So if you want, you can do that here. That's what we need to know. And I'm not going to configure anything here, and like next. And finito.
Sayed, one question.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing all these options on the left hand side where you see VCSA, your name, local, all that stuff on the
This
center
one.
management.
You click the hypervisor itself, or are you clicking
I
the
don't
TODC?
I don't even see anything on the left. See here on the left hand side it says vSphere client on your system. On mine it says vCenter server management.
Oh, vCenter Server Manager.
Server
Uh,
management. Yeah.
Management. Okay, so that's the URL we were later going to discuss, but you read somehow there. Here, you put this URL up there because the port is different for that management one.
Oh, I think that's 5480. Yeah, probably I went there then.
Yeah. So that's the URL when we finished the stage one, then it showed us that URL.
So I'll have
So
to log out from this and log in back there.
exactly, that's it. You have to log out and do not use that port because later we're going to be discussing that. Where you were, VCSA management, that was the page to manage the VCSA. So it's an upcoming topic. Yeah, just change your URL and you'll be good. Should be good. All right. Okay, guys, so we created a VApp. You can see that we've already created resource. Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Can you repeat the step? What new for new VApp? I just
So, yeah, you were
uh,
saying? Mm-hmm.
for new VApp, first is a selection creation type and
Oh,
create
you are
new app.
creating a virtual machine?
No. For VApp, new VApp.
New
Yes,
VM, right?
XY0.
I think
Okay, so
he's
it's
asking the step you just followed in there right now. Yeah.
VApp. I
Yeah.
continuously heard VM.
No,
So I think
VApp.
my laptop is translating it something else. So yeah, maybe I need to change my laptop. Everyone has a newer laptop, then we can change. Just kidding. Okay. So here, yeah. So new V app. Just right click on this hypervisor, and then go to this,
Yes. Yeah.
and then select this,
Okay.
and click this,
Next.
and you have to type any name here, mkt dash dept dash v app, and select this and this. And since I have it already, seriously, why did I put this exact same name? Just put 1 because I already have it. And select this. The name entered is not unique. Now it is unique, man. Okay, now it's unique, I think. Okay, and then you don't have to click anything here, and click this. And then click this.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm gonna click cancel and go back here. So once the V app is created, now I need to actually have a virtual machine inside. I'm gonna go ahead and I think we put the virtual machine in the resource pool in last class. So I'm just gonna expand the resource pool, and there it is, the virtual machine. I want it out of sales VM and I want it inside V app. So the way to do it is drag and drop. Select this, keep it selected, and we by sales VMs. Sound effects provided freely. Okay. So and then drop it on top of this V app. And now it's inside V app. And then well, obviously we need to be, you know what, let's just create 3 more virtual machines because we're going to be playing with them. We're just going to test a lot of features, right? So let's create 3 more virtual machines. So there is this, oh, I have another virtual machine here as well. VM01. I think VM02 we created last time, the empty one. But I want the virtual machine VM01 here as well. Then I'm going to create 2 more, which would be your first name VM03 and VM04. Right? How do I move this virtual machine from ESXi3 hypervisor living inside another data center in another country to this hypervisor? Now, we're just pretending we're in another country, but I'm just going to drag and drop it on top of the V app well, right across the data center, right? So once I leave this, then it says, whoa, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing a migration. Actually, I just did move. I tried to move, and the machines are down right now. Right? Machines are down. I'll later show you how vMotion or the live migration or virtual machine is powered on. How do we migrate it from one hypervisor to another? You have to really prepare the hypervisor for that. But right now, the machine is off. You can just simply move it like this as well. So change compute resource, only compute resources, that resource that provides CPU and RAM is considered as compute resource. So that's from this hypervisor to that hypervisor, right? I just want to change the hypervisors there. Yes, I'm going to keep it to this and click next. Okay. So it did not show hypervisor because I did not put the host. I'm just going to select the host now. It's on the app. If I click host here, there you go. Now it says, oh, you want to go away from 3. So it's supposed to show, right? It's not showing 2 to me. Those who are following, is it showing 2 to you, any one of you who are following? All right.
It's showing 2%.
It's no 2%, yes, but the destination, because this VM is on ESXi3, right? Anyone is seeing ESXi?
No.
No.
Yes,
right?
ESXi3.
Okay. So this means that, yeah, okay, thank you for the confirmation. This means that you cannot move to the destination because destination is not even showing here, and there's a reason why. In fact, it's always a very good thing that the errors come here in the practice environment, in the training environment, not in the production environment. So the more errors you see, you understand how to resolve them, it's better for the interview, and then it's obviously better for the job as well, that you can resolve, so many of the errors there. So anyway, we need to move to the destination, but the destination is not even showing here. So I'm going to cancel out from here. What happens is, so this is VM01, and VM01 need to check the CD DVD of this virtual machine if it has the Windows ISO or any type of ISO attached to it. Obviously, we installed Windows inside this. So the ISO of Windows must be attached to this virtual machine. So what happens is, if you want to move a machine, one of the prerequisites of moving a machine is to remove the attached or mapped ISO of Windows or Linux, whichever. Remove any ISO that is attached to the virtual machine before you migrate a virtual machine, right? That's one of the basic rules. And it's not going to let you see the destination if you don't remove that ISO from the virtual machine. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to remove the ISO. I'm going to right click here on the virtual machine. Because I need to go to the CD DVD, I need to remove that ISO that is mapped to this virtual machine. I could move this virtual machine. How do I remove? I'm going to go to Edit Settings. Once I go to Edit Settings of this machine, I need to go to the CD DVD. DVD, CD, DVD. There you go. CD/DVD. Yes, there is an ISO. Obviously, we installed one. But that's why it's not going to let you migrate virtual machine away from this hypervisor. So that's the rule of thumb. And the reason for that it's not going to let you move is because the ISO is actually living inside the data store of ESXi3. So it is most probable thought, or it's going to be most probably not accessible. This data store of ESXi3, in most cases, will not be accessible from ESXi2. Could be, but in most cases not. Or you have to just configure it again before you migrate. So they say that we're just going to not have this option while migration. So there would be no possibility of any error. So that's why I'm just going to remove it. So I'm just going to disconnect it. And in VMware 6.7 or 6.5, there was that bug. Even if you disconnect it, even if you change it to, let's just do that. First disconnect it or uncheck it. Then second thing is, let's change it away from data store ISO to client device, which was the default option. So this option is also grayed out now. Client device, this option, right? I'm just going to press OK. Telling VMware, hey VMware, we have removed this ISO from here. So can we migrate now? So we're going to see that if it lets us see the destination hypervisor. I'm just going to press OK here and refresh to there as well. B and fresh. Then I'm going to move. Right click here. I was moving and then the migration wizard started. But if I right click and go to migrate here, the same wizard will start. Well, so this is the other way to start the same thing. I'm just going to go right click or move and drop it there. It's going to start the same thing. All right. So now change compute resource only, and I'm going to click next. And there you go. It still does not show. Oh, wow. It even rhymes. So, yeah. I was saying that in 6.7, 6.5, it was pain. And I was going to say in 7.0, it actually is gone, but no, it's not gone. So maybe refresh just a few thousand times. And then it might show, even if you refresh the whole browser level. So I'm just going to go to the browser level and refresh the whole page. Sometimes it's stubborn for everyone. And in version 7, it used to be, it used to be fixed. Like if you just disconnect from that, so it would just let you see the destination for migration. I'm just going to right click again and check it out. Otherwise, we're going to still go ahead and pick the other machines. Anyway, so device connect. Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, migrate. Next. Right? Okay. So that's not going to work. Right click. It's pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to drop it on top of ESXi2, but it's pretty much the same thing that it's not showing. Oh, it's not showing very much. When we can go a very long way, like restart, remotely connect ESXi1 and then restart the VCSA, then again when it restarts, and then wait for 15 to 20 minutes for the background services to start. When it's fully start, then we log in, and then it might actually uh, do this. One more thing that I was thinking, why should we restart E6i1? Because we're dealing with E6i3 and its virtual machine, right? E6i3 is this one. So, and it's a light one. I mean, like if you restart, it's not going to take that much time. Right? VCSA that takes more time, and we don't need to really restart VCSA. So I'm going to do a crazy thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and restart this E6i3 because that machine, although we remove the ISO, it's still not letting us migrate. So to prove a point, if after restart it's still stubborn, then we're going to go for the machine creation and do this thing later. But thing is, 7.0, I've seen that just resolves right away. Make it hundreds after you uncheck. That's all. Still shutting down. Mhm. After restart it better. Oh man, one more thing. When you shut down the hypervisor and when you restart, then you have to right click inside the hypervisor, go and start the machine. Then I realized while explaining to you that that machine was supposed to be shut down anyway, so we don't need to right click. Just need it to be detected again after restart. So if I just go there, now vCenter detects that, oh, 683 is missing. It's red now. Communication. So that's good. I mean, like vCenter has the latest updates about E6i3. Let's see how soon it detects that it's fully started now. Well, it hasn't. That's why it's going to take time there as well. The good thing is you should also keep an eye always on vCenter, how often it is communicating with all the hypervisors, and how soon vCenter gets to know that which hypervisor is down and which hypervisor is back up again. How soon does it know that? Well, with all newer versions of vCenter, it's fast. Wow, it's thinking.
Slide. No.
Did anyone restart earlier and saw the second machine or not?
Slide.
Oh, is somebody talking? I don't think you're just 100%.
Can you ask a question?
Is anyone talking to me?
I was
No.
talking.
Oh, it's very low sound. I don't know why. You can say again.
Okay, is it better now?
Well, it's low. Is it me or is it low for everyone? Well, you can speak louder. You can go near to the mic and.
Okay, let me try to get my headset. If it works.
Mhm.
Is it better now?
Yeah, kind of.
Because I could hear a lot of echoes.
It's okay.
Okay, I was going to ask, is there any form of document documentation to help me reinstall my workstation. My system got crashed and I lost my entire environment. I need a lot of configurations to catch up to where you are at the moment.
Well, I have those brutal 4-hour videos.
Oh, a straight 4-hour video that captures everything.
Well, there are multiple videos because we were going slow and explaining everything. Otherwise, yeah. So if you follow all the videos and you could fast forward it, and you can really do all the laps faster.
Yes, I am aware. Oh my word. So, anyways, I started, but I saw that there's a lot of configurations.
Yeah, it's good to redo that because then you can say it better if you redo the whole thing again, step by step. Yeah, it is. I know it's painful. But, in my interview in Scotiabank, where I was hired, so they asked me about the installation of Exchange Server on premises. I had done that in the lab so many times. I was explaining to them step by step. And I think that was also one major thing that they were impressed about. So, yeah, right now it's a pain. But if you get a 30 or 40 per hour job or 50 per hour job, then you will be thanking yourself that I went through the pain. So you went through the pain. So my suggestion is to, even if your environment is perfect, delete the whole thing and start from the beginning and redo the whole thing again at least 2 times. So then you're good for the interview. Anyways.
I agree with you on that, but I was just saying maybe personal videos. I mean, not even your class, your online class or something, where there is just like straight video that maybe you were not even explaining, that just have that long pipeline.
Wow, that's a good idea actually. I didn't do that before. Because then the new students will say, "Hey, why aren't you explaining anything? You're just doing click, 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 click." Okay.
I mean, that would be for experienced people, right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's a good idea, but I hope I create that. Otherwise, you fast forward that. In the YouTube, there's a function, and if you fast forward to 2.0 speed, then it's like this, like this. The sound comes like this, and it goes really fast. I hope you're able to do that. Okay, guys. So yes, our hypervisor is again online. I'm just going to try one more time. Fingers crossed, but I'm gonna right click and go migrate, and there you go. It doesn't work. Okay. Right click. It's acting like 6.5 and 6.7. We have removed this CD DVD. Okay, what I'm gonna do is very drastic measure. I'm just gonna simply remove the CD-ROM altogether. And that also somehow virtual machine just thinks that it's still attached and it's not gonna let you. And just quickly go for this and hosts. No. Okay. Maybe the whole vCenter restart, which is crazy, and we should not go that way. It's gonna waste a lot of time for this. Worth it. Okay, guys. So right now, I was trying to just create more machines, which we can do later as well, because we then stopped talking about vApp. Just to finish that topic, it's a pretty small topic, and it's not really complicated at all. So we were talking about vApp, that it's just grouping of virtual machines just for maintenance and management purposes. And I was showing you here what I was going to show. Suppose there are 4 or 5 machines here, or 10 machines here, suppose, right, in this vApp. So we're going to right click here and then check. There's a power on, power off, suspend, shut down button, right? So that's where it really shows what vApp is. And if you power on, so I right click not on the virtual machine, I'm right clicking on the app itself, right? If I right click here, so the power button is there. Although I know that if I right click on the virtual machine, there's a power button here as well, right? So that's why I was saying that if there are two virtual machines, then VApp will be better understandable. So let's just create one more virtual machine at least quickly. So this would be your first name, VM03. It's going to go up to the ESXi2. I'm going to right click and start creating a empty virtual machine with 1 GB RAM and the thin provisioned disk. Your first name, VM03. So I could then I could add it to the VApp, and then we can see the features of the VApp. I'm just going to right click on the ESXi2 and go for new virtual machine here. This is pretty straightforward process, and we're going to go through all these as well after this topic of VApp. New virtual machine. Next. Oh, one more thing before I, that topic will still be coming later, but I want all the smaller topics to finish first. So there is that import export VM. I just added that. It's a small topic as well. So let's finish all the small, then we go for the big ones. Okay, so what I was saying was new virtual machine. I'm just going to name it as our naming convention. Your first name VM03, right? 1, 2, yeah, 3. And it's in Tor DC, the center, within the ESXi2. I'm just going to right click, next. Right click, next. Good news is all here, compatibility. It should be green all the time, right? Next. Yeah, any of the ones, obviously, I'm going to go for any one. For no particular reason, I'm going for 1, 2. Next. And yeah, I need a latest one, 7.0. Next. I will not be installing an operating system, but I'm still selecting the universal drivers of 2019 here. Not enabling virtualization-based security. Next. Here, be careful. I don't want 4 GB RAM. I just need 1 GB RAM. Second thing is, I don't want it to have thin disk. I don't want it to have thick disk. I want it to have thin disk provision. We talked about that so many times. So these two things, 1 GB RAM.
Please, what is the storage option that you?
What is the storage option? Oh, back here. One. Storage policy, or yeah, it's the LUN2 we use. If you were asking about the data store.
Thank you.
And yeah, then no change on the next page, compatibility, and just change it to 2019 or 2016 or whichever. And no other changes. Next. And then memory is 1 GB. And hard disk, you have to expand that, new hard disk, and you have to then do thin provision. Once this is done, let's click next. And finish. Right, so we got one more machine here, and there it is. First name VM03. So I'm just going to drag this machine into the VApp as well. Maybe 2 machines inside VApp, then we can understand how VApp really works. I'm just going to drag this VM03 inside the VApp. And now there are 2 machines inside VApp. Are they really inside? So I'm going to close the VApp. Yes, now we cannot see the machines, so are really inside. Yeah. Once that is done, now by default, this VApp is configured to that's it. So by default, this VApp is configured to start the virtual machines after 120 seconds interval of each other, right? I'm just gonna right click and power on, right? So, and we can change that interval as well. So powering on, so it's gonna start one machine, then it's gonna start the second machine. So the green play button is only available right now for the first machine. When it is done, I'm just gonna go for the second machine as well. And our best friend recent tasks is also showing that yes, this is happening here. So always keep an eye on the recent tasks.
Hello.
Yeah.
An error message.
Hello. Sorry.
What are, yeah.
Yeah, I'm for new virtual machine. I'm in customize hardware. I'm not
Mhm.
getting the option that thin provision.
Why are you not getting thin provision?
When I'm creating new virtual machine, it's,
Oh, did you create here E6i2?
yeah.
Right click. So you have to expand the hard disk. You click the expand hard disk. You know that this is expand, right? Like this. The arrow.
Yeah.
When you click, you will see the thick provision, thin provision, right? Right. So good.
Then 7 number step, customize hardware. Well, memory is I was selected memory 1 GB. Then hard disk is 90 GB.
Yeah. So under 9, expand the hard disk. There's an arrow beside the hard disk, right? Just like this arrow. Click that arrow.
Yeah.
And then go down and see thick written there. Thick.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so
I said I was having an error, please. The available memory resources in the parent resource pool are insufficient for the operation.
how much memory did you give?
To the virtual machine?
Yep.
Just 1 GB.
Even that is not sufficient?
Yeah.
That's strange. Try to give, it may have given you, no, is it 1 GB or maybe you change the GB to TB? Right. Because 1 GB obviously has to be sufficient. GB or TB? Should change the TB to GB and then it's okay. Should be okay. Because
Still, GB. I checked
it's
on
GB.
BMP.
Well, you can share the screenshot or you can share this quickly the screen. So if you can share it quickly.
I'll have to do it from another
Oh.
PC.
You can take a picture from yourself. You can take a picture from your cell phone and
Okay.
upload it on the
Okay.
SharePoint.
Yes.
Oh, it's not SharePoint. Exactly. Yeah, you can also smile in that picture. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I'll keep an eye on the WhatsApp when you put it there. So guys, you can see here that the two machines are started, right? And but they did not start together. They started one by one. What I can do, what we can do is we can right click on the V app. Okay, there's a picture that Moise has shared, and this is the picture. Right, so 1 GB. I don't see any error. When you press OK, then the error comes. Like this.
You can check down the recent Power on virtual machine, but I'll also share the picture of the error message.
Oh, when it's powering on, then it's saying that you don't have enough memory. This VM02 is also on the same, and VM02, how much RAM VM02 has and how much RAM VM03 has. Maybe VM02 has 4 GB RAM, so it would have eaten all the RAM. Change the RAM of VM02 after shutting it down. Shut down both machines. Oh, actually, they are already shut down.
Both are one. Both are one. I can share
Both are one.
the VM. Yeah, the VM2 if you want.
And the available memory, it says here, the available memory is for
I had a similar issue before on ESXi 3 when we were installing Windows. So I had to start all the process again. So I added another hard drive and deleted the previous one and followed all the steps again. So it's a long process.
ouch. Okay. This, so what is the memory of your XI2, Moise? Is it 4 GB or less than 4? Not going to even start if it's less than 4, obviously. And Moise, one more thing. You can go for 500 KB memory instead of GB. MB, sorry, not KB. You can go for 500 MB here and 500 MB for the second machine. Just change the memory of both both virtual machines to less, very less. They could even start practically. So change the GB to MB and then give it 500, 250, or whatever is the minimum to start the machines, because we're exploring the VApp features and we don't need really virtual machine to have even 1 GB, but that is very strange. That why would it let you? Do you have 32 GB RAM portable or 16 GB?
That's VM2.
Oh, there's another picture. Okay, so that's the other machine. Yeah. So did you change it to GB to MB and started with 500 MB? Just change the GB to MB and put the number as 500. Both.
Yes, I'm doing it.
Okay. Then let us know. Or otherwise restart ESXi2 only, and then try this again. That's the next step. Okay, so this is very small feature and it's not very complicated, guys. So I'm just gonna keep going as well so you could have the recorded version of that. So I went for power on, and yes, both machines are powered on. But then there are very common features that you can create directly a new virtual machine inside a VApp. Yeah. Okay, so there's another one.
Oh, the same after changing the memory.
In the parent resource pool are insufficient. Oh, did you configure the resource pool somehow? Because I left it as is, the resource pool.
I didn't configure it. I didn't change any configuration.
Okay, didn't change anything. Just mean it's better to restart ESXi2 because memory errors. If you're exactly having the configuration that I have, then it's better to restart if it's acting weird. So if you've frozen and unfrozen it, sometimes after we unfreeze it or unsuspend it, it acts weird. Restart and then let me know. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Let us know.
Restarting.
Yeah. Also, keep watching what we are doing. So we could go ahead and finish more topics in the video. Okay. So here, if I right click and then go to edit settings, then in the edit settings, so yeah, that's the same thing, resource pool, and I didn't make any changes here. Second thing is if I go to start order, this is what I was saying before. So you can see that by default it is 120 seconds delay of startup between the two virtual machines, and you can change it at any time. And when you click that machine, so you can see that there's group 1. Group 1 shows that VM02 is part of group 1. Suppose you go to VM03 and it is group 2, but you want it inside group 1. So now they would both start simultaneously. Well, actually, when you make this 120 seconds to 0, if it lets you, yeah, it does, and put it in group 1, now they will start simultaneously, right? But if you keep it to 120 seconds, but group 1, you're just grouping within the VApp as well. Suppose you have 10 virtual machines and you want group 1 to start first, group 2 of 3 virtual machines, group 1 of 4 virtual machines, something like that. You want to do grouping within the VApp as well, you can do that too. You can change any of those options here for group 1, group 2. So I'm just going to change ESXi 03 to group 2. This means that now they will have a group 1 machines will start first and then group 2 machines will start second. So that's the start order. And then this IP allocation. So those virtual machines inside a VApp, you can mention here that they are getting IP from DHCP or they are getting IP from and this is OVF. OVF environment is just that you imported the virtual machines from, suppose there is New York branch and there's a Toronto branch. And New York branch also has a vCenter deployed there, and Toronto branch also has a vCenter deployed there. Separation of administration, right? In that case. So you have exported, somebody was coming from New York and you told that administrator that, hey, why don't you just bring your virtual machine, plus just export it to USB. It's a pretty heavy machine, suppose. So export it in the USB, and when you're on your way to Toronto, and, once you're here, then we will import this machine. So once you import that machine, so that is called OVF. In the OVF format, and after this lab, we're going to actually go for OVF format to import export virtual machines from vCenter. So anyway, if the machine was imported, then you can just check that option as well for knowing that how virtual machines are there, and then v4, v6. So what kind of protocol are they using? So you can just put that information for group of machines that are inside this VApp. And then there are more details you just want to put for those virtual machines. What is the vendor of the application that is living inside that virtual machine? So it's not a big deal. It's a pretty easy, straightforward kind of feature. VApp, just group them together to start, stop, shut down together, or after a delay of certain amount of time. So other than that, it's and it has resource pools as well. So nothing complicated here. Pretty straightforward. That's it, right? Oh, okay. I'm gonna just shut them down as well. So I'm just gonna cancel out from here, right click again, and simply power them off. So they're gonna shut down as well with 120 seconds of delay from each other. Okay, so shut down, yes. That you have shut down your guest operating systems before powering off the VApp, off the selected VApp, and still and all its VMs. Shut down and power off. We may have talked about that before as well. Shut down properly, waits for the background services to stop, and then it shuts down. And power off is like you have pulled off the plug. It's not safe to power off. They're saying that first shut down the operating system living inside the virtual machine yourself, and then come here and just shut down the VM. Just pressing yes here. It's going to start the same process. In fact, you saw that it just shut. Oh, power off. Yeah, power off did not really wait for anything. It gave me the warning as well. So yes, it powered off right away. It's like pulling off the plug. Right? So that's VApp. We talked about resource pool. We talked about VApp. And the next thing is pretty small. It's nothing big deal. It's easy, straightforward applications or features, not applications. Then we come to virtual machine management, but after that, we're going to go for import export, which is OVF and OVA format. So whenever you ever hear about OVF, and you will be hearing maybe you will hear in cloud course as well, OVF, OVA. So that's just the export import format of the virtual machines, right? Anyway, I'm just going to go for the previous topic here, virtual machine management, and those types that show types. If I go here, now if you go to the site 2 and right click here and go to the new virtual and virtual machine, and you see these other options. So what is this? Deploy from template, existing virtual machine to template, or template to template, convert template to virtual machine. So what are all these options? Okay, that's our screenshot number 1, guys. So everyone, please take a screenshot of this. Everyone, please take a screenshot of this. So it's virtual machine management is the name of the screenshot. Screenshot 1, virtual machine management. I'll take a screenshot of that. We're going to discuss all these options here. Then we're going to go for import export. Screenshot uno or 1. Screenshot 1 is virtual machine management. Okay, so that's screenshot 1. I'll put that there as well. Okay, so that's screenshot 1. Go back here to the virtual machine management. So these are the topics as well. So I'm just gonna put that here. Yeah. Screenshot 1. I'll just take a screenshot separately of what are the options in new virtual machines and when do you use them. So those are options. Virtual machine management. Actually, management also, you need to take a snapshot of the virtual machine. You need to revert from the snapshot. That is also part of the management. You back up the virtual machine. That is also part of the management. And whatever management related tasks you do, maintenance tasks you do, right? So, yeah, these are together in the same window. So that's why I'm just saying that this is also management. Let's just go through. This is also nothing complicated here. So deploy from template. So what is a template? This option guides you through the process of creating a virtual machine from a template. A template is a golden image of a virtual machine that lets you easily create ready for use virtual machines. You must have a template to proceed with this option. So template is a golden image. Okay, what's a golden image? Okay, so here, if we go ahead and check it out. Now, a golden image is suppose there's a scenario and the boss says that okay, we need to deploy 200 virtual machines, right? So those 200 virtual machines all must have MS Office, Adobe Reader, WinZip, and antivirus installed there, right? And or any other software as well, printer, mapping, and folder mapping, shared folder mapping, right? Shared folder mapping, right? So all that has to be there in all 200 virtual machines. So one way is that you create one virtual machine, install the whole thing, and yeah, all the drivers of the drivers of sound card, display card, network card, and patching. All the windows should be fully updated with latest patches. Right? So all that must be done. You start first virtual machine and do that, then you start second virtual machine and do that, or start 10 virtual machines at the same time and do that, then next 10 virtual machine, then next 10. So one day, Monday or Sunday, you're going to be finished with that, but you're going to waste a lot of time. So how about create one perfect virtual machine, create one perfect virtual VM, perfect VM, having all the required configurations and applications installed properly, right? Once a perfect machine with all those required configurations and applications installed and checked, tested properly, then and the whole thing is created, then to do take an image of this VM, then deploy new own VMs with this image. So the thing is that as soon as you deploy a copy virtual machine with this image setting, so what will happen is that you don't have to really install the whole thing, all the applications and configurations and patching and everything. It's an exact copy of a virtual machine called clones. You can create clone out of that with the help of this image. So there will be one golden image or template out of which you can create hundreds of clones or thousands of clones. When the clone gets created, when you start the clone, it will already have these applications and configurations done there. You just join it to domain, rename it, join it to domain. Even you can automate that process as well. So that is called golden image. If we go back to the option here, there is deploy from template. So do you have a template virtual machine with an operating system installed and everything configured properly? Then you can clone this. So deploy from template just means that, oh, you're creating a new virtual machine. Do you want to actually clone a template or create a virtual machine out of a template? Whatever template has, the virtual machine will have exactly those features. Now, obviously, we don't have a template yet. So that's why we cannot use this option yet. Then clone an existing virtual machine. So this is, you make a copy of whatever virtual machines you have here. You just create a copy of that. But the problem with that is that there is another thing. When you create a clone, it's obviously literally the same copy. So clone is an exact copy of a virtual machine. When you create a clone and or original VM, clone VM. Clone is an exact copy of the original VM. What happens is each virtual machine is given a unique identifier called SID, right? So, and that is security identifier, right? And it looks like this, right? Some alphanumeric characters, address, list address, right? So now, obviously, when you clone a virtual machine, it's an exact copy of the virtual machine. So the same SID also gets copied. The problem with that is we cannot introduce two VMs with same SID in the network because then network services will not be available for those virtual machines. With same SID in the network because then, especially Windows machines, but other machines as well, because they won't be able to connect to majority of network services. One of the machines will be affected and will not be able to connect to network services like email or internet for file sharing to another machine. So basic network services will not be available if the SID is the same. So the thing is, when you create a golden image, you create it in such a way that the SID is always different, right? So the template has that kind of features inside that first you properly create a template. After that, when you create a clone out of this, so the clone SID will be always different. So the main point here is clone SID must always be different from the template or source VM. That's the main point here to understand that the clone SID is always supposed to be different from the source VM. So when you're cloning a virtual machine, which is this option, clone an existing virtual machine, so don't introduce it in the same network. Maybe you're backing up a virtual machine. Suppose this virtual machine has a lot of critical data inside, or the configuration of a application that you've gone through a lot of pain to configure that, and you really want to have a copy backup of that virtual machine. And then you can create a clone of a virtual machine and now export it from this environment into a USB and save that USB somewhere. So that's the point about having a clone, and then what kind of precautions you have to take. Clone virtual machine to template. This is a typical virtual machine you want to convert into a template. This is that option. So the boss says, hey, why don't you just create a template? So this is that option that we were discussing right now, virtual machine to template, that you want to have a golden image. So what option can you use to create a golden image? So first you create a perfect VM and all the required configuration properly. Take an image of that. This VM, deploy new clone VMs with this image. So this is that option. Clone virtual machine to template. So suppose you have done all this till here. You have done all this. After that, you use a feature. So use the VMware feature called clone VM to template. So this is the place. Once you're ready with a perfect virtual machine, you have followed all the rules of shutting it down properly. So it is cloned. It will be creating actually new clone with a unique SID. So that's the thing that you have to be careful about. But after this step, you use clone VM to over template. So this machine is ready? Yes, sir, it is ready. Okay, let's click this option and then it will create a machine. So that's what you're supposed to do in a production environment. We're pretending that yes, we have done it with VM0, 1 or 2 or 3, right? Now VM01 somehow it does not want to really migrate from ESXi3 to ESXi2. Maybe when at the end of the class I'll just shut down this ESXi1, but in next classes then it will start for a long time. After that, maybe that error will be gone and it will let us migrate. Anyway, right now let's just select the clone virtual machine to template. Let's just do that first and then go for the other options as well. Clone virtual machine template, I'm selecting that now. And we're going to choose one of the current machines, which are one of them, two of them are empty. One has operating system. I'll try to choose first the operating system one, but if somehow it says that no, it's on the other hypervisor, so then we can choose one of the empty ones. It says I had to delete resource pool, which is good. That's a good idea. Maybe the resource pool, because that machine may be part of the resource pool, that's why. Okay, that makes sense, yes. Good. So here, let's just go for clone virtual machine to template. I'm going to click next. And does it let me select the VM01? So it's living in Canada, but you know, the feature that we are trying to, and we're going for, does it let us even choose virtual machine across the data centers, right? We are running this process in the Toronto data center. The machine actually is living inside New York data center. So going across the data centers, I'm selecting a machine which has an operating system inside. Next. And what is the name that you want to give to the template? So it would be your first name, VM01-template, or whatever name you want to give. And we're saying that, hey, please create it in the data center, the template of that machine. I'm going to click next. And it says, hey, you want to create it in the ESXi2? Yes, the source machine is in ESXi3. I'm kind of doing a stunt here. It may or may not work. So click next. Yes, you're right. Okay. Totally agree with that. So 1, 2 here, or whichever one. Okay. For no particular reason, I'm selecting 1, 2. Next to it. So that's the finish line. I'm going to click finish. Now, what I chose is virtual machine with an operating system.
Sorry, in second step, select a virtual machine. What we did?
In the second step. The second step?
Yeah, in clone.
Hey, I crossed the finish line already.
Yeah, actually,
I know everyone is having dinner and only I am doing blah, 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 blah. So here, virtual machine, and then I'm going to click clone virtual machine to template, this one. And then next, go to US NYDC and select that Windows virtual machine. And next, and name it your first name VM01-template. First name 01-template and keep it on ToDC. And next, and then yeah, it's ESXi2 that we're going to create a template on. Next, just choose 1, 2, or 3, or 1, whichever, and finish.
Excuse me, sir. Select the computer resource. Do you have the
in storage?
Can you please explain this? No, it was no, the step 4. If you can just expand this one. Yes. Okay.
In storage, we have to select learn to. Okay.
Hey Sayed, I just sent a screenshot. I got this error message. Is there any way I can shut down one of the ESXi 1 or 2,
Yes.
2 or 3? Which one
It's
I can
okay to shut down. Yeah, you're right. It's okay to shut down anyone just to save some CPU and RAM.
So can I do 3 or 2?
So you know what? You don't have to select the machine on 3. You can select any of the empty machines on. You can shut down 3 because then we're doing nothing on 3. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh, there's not enough space. Ouch. I think you're going to still have that error. Yeah, shut down 3 and try, because the space is still going to be an issue even if you shut down 1. Try it. You know, if the space is still there, Leonard says in the chat, is there a certification related to this course? Yes, it is called VCP 7 or VCP 2022. The name of the certification is VCP, VMware Certified Professional, VCP. So at the end of the course, I'll be giving a lot of details about that too. Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say that by the mid of the program, students start saying that they are running out of space. So the solution is there are very cheap storage external drives that are there, like in the market, and you can purchase like 1 terabyte external USB drive or 500 GB USB drive. Connect that, and then before the class starts for VMware, you can paste the Linux machines or any other data that you have other than VMware into the external drive. So you should have only VMware drives, and when you have the class for Linux, then you can move back that machine. And if you want, you can move the whole VMware 4 machines on the external drive as well, but that would take forever. So anything smaller than VMware, you can just move out into external drive for the duration of the class. That's one idea, one suggestion. Okay, guys. So what? Yeah, I'm gonna cancel that. So it is done actually. Yay. So where is that template? Who knows where is the template? The template is created, but I don't see it here. Where could it be? Anyone knows? Well, that's the virtual machine and its template I created. And the template name is machine name dash template. I don't see any machine name dash template here. So the machine template is where? It's here. If we go to this area, then expand that and toward EC. So you will see that machine name dash template is here. And this is called here this VMs and templates. This icon is called VMs and templates. This icon or section, whole section under the icon is called hosts and clusters. The first one is hosts and clusters. Second one is VMs and templates. Third one is storage. The fourth one is networking. So those are the main four icons that we go from time to time to each of these. So that's why those icons are especially. Okay, so it's in VMs and templates that you would find the template, but not in the host and cluster section. Although it is hosted on ESXi2, but it will show it in the separate section. So one template is created, and that's good. And now what we can do with the template, so I'm going to right click the template itself, and can we power on the template? So that's one thing that we need to understand. There is no power button here. So, but the main thing about a template is that you cannot power it on. And what's the reason behind that? So the template cannot be powered on because obviously you don't want it to be changing and you don't want someone to be messing with the template because you will be creating hundreds of virtual machines or hundreds of clones. So because of that, you don't want to mess up with the machines. Moise says, I also have it in hosts and clusters. I also have it in hosts and clusters. Then, no, Moise, it's a clone. It's not a template. Guys, what Moise is showing here is, okay, let me make it bigger. So Moise is showing Moise VM01 dash template, right? You can see the icon here. I think you have used the wrong wizard as the template icon is totally different. Template icon looks like this. And this is a normal virtual machine. This is not a template. Right click here, you will see the power button here, right? While if I right click here, I don't see a power button here. Template icon is different, and I think you've used the wrong image or wrong, not image, the option, wrong option. So, own virtual machine, to template, that's the one that you were supposed to use. Show you.
Was the fourth option that you?
I did not use the first option, so let me show you.
The fourth.
Fourth,
The fourth.
it was the click. So which option did I use? This one?
Yes, clone virtual template.
And you use exactly this one? Okay, so when you right click, do you see power button there? The Moise VM01 dash template.
No.
You
I
don't
have
see
it
power
too,
button?
but it's still not completed. So I think it will disappear after.
Okay, it's not still completed.
Still
Maybe
in
it's not.
progress. I think that's why it's showing there. I used same option as.
Okay. So Moise, is it completed in the recent tasks?
Yes, it's completed.
Okay, refresh the browser.
Okay. No, under the recent tag is still running.
It's still running?
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. So let us go ahead and so it's gonna show up here, and when you right click here, so there will be no power button because templates are not supposed to be powered on. And if you mess with the template, obviously hundreds of virtual machines that you're creating out of that will be an exact copy of that template. So you can't really afford to mess with the template. That's why you cannot power them on. So what can you do with the template? You can do a new VM from this template, convert to virtual machine, clone to template, and clone to library. So new VM from this template, this is what we were expecting, obviously. We want to create a new virtual machine from a template. So we're pretending that we have actually done all those tasks that we were talking about, that you installed MS Office and all this software in that. Now, when you create a new VM from this template, so that virtual machine will already have MS Office and all the other applications installed. You don't have to really click and install everything and wait for the installation to finish. So once you create out of that, if you have perfectly completed that virtual machine and you're now creating a VM out of template, I'm going to click that first option, new VM out of template, and this is just copy VM dash off dash template, copy VM of template, right? From template, you can just name it from. Just giving a name to understand which type of VM it is. Otherwise, obviously, you will give some professional name there in the production environment. So now I'm creating a VM out of template, pretending that this was the perfect virtual machine of which you created a template of, right? So now I'm creating a VM or like clone from a template. So this is the wizard for that. Tor DC, yes, that's where I want to create that. Next. And then ESXi2 inside the Tor DC, the data center, inside the data center, this is the hypervisor that I want to create on the template, and then run 3 or run 1 or run 2, whichever you want. You can create it there. For no particular reason, I'm creating it on 3. Next to here it says that, oh, you're creating a copy or clone of a template. You want something extra configured there. So if you want to do that, then you have to customize the operating system, customize this virtual machine's hardware, or power on virtual machine after the creation. So you can choose all those options as well if you want. I'm just selecting the first 2 options just to show that what are the settings they are showing there. And if I click next here, so first they say that you have to operating system, so Windows 2019, and that override button, if it was enabled, it normally shows that, hey, you want to give some custom name to the machine, you want to put a key for the Windows, you want to put administrator password for that. So all the typical options that come when you install a Windows. So they ask here. Then when you put all the information here, then it automates the installation and you don't have to put those things. The Windows installation doesn't stop for any input from your side if you put all those here. Please,
Trying to catch up, please. We are creating this copy in which location?
it's the same ESXi2. And in the database, whichever data store. I chose LAN 3. Cool. Okay, so here, override operating system, Microsoft Windows Server 2019, 64-bit. So yeah, if the override button was enabled, then it would have let you go for more customizable options. If we click next here, then there is that configure the virtual machine hardware. So now it's saying that although it's suggesting the same virtual hardware, like suppose you have two vCPUs in the template, it's going to give you two vCPUs. And if it was 2 GB memory for the template, it's going to give you 2 GB memory. So you can customize the hardware that, oh, for this virtual machine, actually, I need 64 GB RAM. The template maybe had 1 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM, but for the phone that you're creating, you can have different virtual hardware as well. I'm going to still make it to, 12 MB. Hey, can I just put 1 GB here? And hard disk, I need to make sure it is in provisioning, same as source format, right? So same as source format, which is okay. So source was pin provision, so this is also in provision. And I'm going to click, that's it. Just going to click next. And this is the finish. Obviously that machine, so this machine is getting created. Could have some errors as well because not all the best practices were followed, obviously, to create this. So even if it gives us an error, we don't really need this virtual machine. I just want to show you the options along the way. But if you create a template and then create a phone out of a template, so what does the wizard shows? What features are available? So it goes for 40% in virtual machine files. So
Sorry, in hard drive we have not changed anything, right? Hard disk.
Yeah, we're not changing hard disk. No, RAM, yes, 1 GB.
Okay.
Okay, so that whole process, you just need to know what's recommended to you and what are we expecting in the production environment. But the thing is that it's nothing complicated yet here. I mean, the more complicated concepts are coming in future, but this is like you just once you know the process and you right click the options and that's it. So straightforward stuff here. Nothing complicated for what we have understood here. Now, this is going to keep on getting created. I'm just going to go back to this host and cluster section here. I'm going to right click again ESXi2 because there's some more options there as well. Pretty straightforward options. Again, new virtual machine. So, create new virtual machine was the option that we already selected. Now, deploy from template was the option that we actually directly selected from the template. Right? So, deploy from template does exactly what we did directly from the template, new VM from a template. So if you right click the template itself, it will say new VM from template. While if you go from the hypervisor, click and create new virtual machine and then come to this page, then it will say deploy from template. So this option we have used already. Own an existing virtual machine is just a simple copy of another whatever virtual machine you want to make a copy of, but you're not supposed to really introduce that virtual machine in the same environment or change the SID and then introduce it in the same environment where the source virtual machine is. Clone virtual machine to template, this is what we did first. Then clone template to template. What is that? So you want to back up the template because template is one thing that gets created after a long, painful number of steps. So that's why it's going to be not easy. You're not going to be comfortable having just one template here without a backup copy of that. That's why you have to be having more copies of that template. So for that, So clone template to template, let's do that. Let's do what? We're going to create a backup of a template and that will be also a template. So if I go there and click next, the fifth option now, I right click the hypervisor and then came here. And obviously I'm going to look for the template and the template is living inside Toronto Data Center, right? And since it's just a template that it's going to show, so yeah, that's the only one we have. I'm going to select that template that please make a copy of a template. So template just professionally makes a copy of a template that you can save somewhere for later use. So I'm just going to right click here and this is just copy of a template. Next. It's also a very small wizard. It also asks, hey, where do you want to keep it? So maybe on 3. Next to that's it, finished, right? Pretty straightforward. You can create a copy of a template as well. While this is going on, I'm going to right click again because it's nothing difficult, simple stuff. And then convert template to a virtual machine. So when do you use this? So what happens is that suppose you've created today a perfect machine, then you created a template out of that perfect machine, and then you started creating new clones from that template, right? You even created a copy of a template as well. It's been 6 months now or 1 year now, or a lot of time has passed. What happens is that there are new updates available. MS Office has new updates. Adobe Reader, WinZip, antivirus, new antivirus signatures are there that you need to update. Printer mapping may not be, maybe there are new printers that have been purchased and their printer drivers need to be added there to the virtual machines. New shared folders need to be added there. Drivers updated version is there. Obviously, every month Microsoft releases new Windows updates. So it's been 6 months. So this template is actually 6 months old in terms of all these applications. All these applications, 6 month older versions are there. After 6 months, you would want to start this template. Obviously, you cannot do that because there's no power button there for a good reason. So, but you need to start this template, then update all these applications, and then shut it down again. That's what you would want to do within 6 months or 3 months or every month, whatever your policy is. So for that, this option is used, convert template to virtual machine. So what does it do? So let's understand the process here. That there was how to create a template out of a virtual machine. So what happens is, suppose there's a virtual machine here, and that is, we can say the perfect VM. Referring to a perfect VM is that VM which has whatever the company requires to be in every virtual machine. So that's a perfect VM. And if we want to create an image out of that, so it does not actually convert this very VM to a template. It does not do that. It creates another VM and converts that to a template, right? So the source virtual machine still is there as a virtual machine. Its copy got created and converted into a template. Right? Now this template cannot be powered on, and you can just create lots of clones, copy virtual machines out of the template, right? Now, after 6 months, you need to actually upgrade all the applications inside and the patching of the operating system. New patching need to be deployed in the operating system as well. So what do? Now, this very template can be converted into a virtual machine, which means that there will no longer be a template available after the process is done. This template will become a virtual machine, right? So, because there's no use, there's no use if you do the same process, that this template remains there, but there is another virtual machine that is created out of this template, and that is the normal virtual machine that you can update a software on. So this template with old software will still remain there, right? No use of that template then. So what happens is this very template gets converted. The main word here is convert. Gets converted into a virtual machine. So at the end of the process, there is no longer any template available. That template is the virtual machine. And then you can power on the virtual machine, update all the software here, and then go through the process again of creating another virtual machine. So this is now a normal VM, right? So then creating another machine and converting it to a template. So you want to again convert this to a template, right? So that process will be obviously different. Source VM will still remain there with the updated software now, but there will be another virtual machine created and that will be converted into a template, which will not have a power button. So every 6 months, the template can be converted into a normal virtual machine, software updated, and then out of this dated virtual machine, you can still create another template, while the virtual machine with the updated software still remains there. So that's the process of updating the template, which is also very critical. That you can't really have older software being copied to all the copied, owned virtual machines. Right? If we go back there, now it says, okay, it's been 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. Why don't you just, convert a template into a virtual machine? So let's do that now, because we have actually 2 templates, right? So any one of those going to convert. So the first one that was there, I'm just going to convert that template to a virtual machine that we first created. So I'm just going to use this option. Next, where's that template? It was living in Toronto Data Center, and not the copy of a template. Now there are 2 templates. Obviously, the source template. Suppose that's the old. I'm just going to select that and click next, and then click next, and then click finish. That very template becomes a normal virtual machine. Now it's no longer showing there as a template because template icon is this, right? This is the template icon. This is a normal virtual machine icon. Yes, that is still showing in the VMs and templates, because that VMs and templates section is supposed to show all the virtual machines. It does not show that template. It just shows the same name as a normal virtual machine now. and the copy of a template is still there. The template, because the icon is different, right? So that's how the whole process of template works. Own of a virtual machine, and then so I'm just gonna copy this whole information here. So that's a virtual machine management actually.
Yeah, in Toronto DC, we have select copy of template, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Second step.
Right now, the last step we took.
Yeah. Convert template to virtual machine.
Yes.
In Toronto DC, we have select.
Oh yes. Yeah, Toronto DC and LON 3.
Toronto DC. In that two template, there's a copy of template and our name template.
Both are there, and we can. So it's the first template.
Only have to select Toronto DC, right?
Yes. Only the Toronto DC.
Thank you.
All right. So now
it is saying select a valid template.
Okay, what are you saying?
Select valid template.
Valid template. So select any one of the templates. So you can go for copy VM from template. Copy of a template.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So now, what's this virtual machine? And one more thing about the virtual machine management is you can go to the virtual machine and then right click on the virtual machine, and then there's that snapshot as well. Take snapshot, and that just is a point in time backup, we can say. And it just backs up the state. It's not a backup of data, just the backup of the configurational state. So it's very small in size. And if I just right click and go to snapshots and then click take snapshot, this is within the vCenter, how you take a snapshot. We had that VMware workstation level snapshot as well. The concept is pretty much the same, but obviously not doing the our VMware workstation level snapshot. I'm going for the vCenter level snapshot. So inside vCenter, that's how it looks like for the virtual machine, but pretty much the concept is the same because both are VMware. And it just, you can put as much description here that kind of state the machine was in when you were taking the snapshot. Maybe you can write here, this the software is installed and that is the version of the software and update version. You can all the details there. And the network is that. Whatever details, the more details, the better. When you revert back to the snapshot, suppose in future the virtual machine actually messed up and you want to revert back to the working copy, you can see from the description that, oh, this is all configured here. Yes, I want to come back to this state. So I'm going to click create, and it just simply creates a snapshot of virtual machine. If I right click here again and go to snapshot, then I can go for manage snapshot. Now there's an option for revert to latest snapshot as well. And there's a consolidate as well, 2 snapshots, related configurations you can mix in one. If I go to manage snapshots, so this is a snapshot taken at this time, and you are here, it says, you can delete it as well. Delete all the snapshots. And then you are here, you can select, and then it says you want to revert to the snapshot, whatever state it was in, it's going to go back to that. Okay, so that was the snapshot. If I click the take snapshot again and just create, so then it just will show like this, that, oh, after this snapshot was taken. So it just shows you like this, all the snapshots.
One question.
Sure.
So I'm trying to, my machine crashed in between. So ESXi3, when I'm opening it, and if I'm trying to create template from there, my system is crashing. So can I create template virtual machine to template on ESXi2?
Yes.
When I'm doing that, I don't even see. So when I go next in there, I don't see any machine under Toronto.
Did you create any machine in Toronto?
Yeah, there are two machines right now in Toronto, VM02 and VM03.
So when you're creating copy of a template, or which option are you selecting right now?
So I'm going to marketing department, right click on it, and then new virtual machine, right? Then
Marketing department?
own virtual machine to template.
No, why are you selecting a VApp? I think VApp is the marketing department. You're supposed to select the ESXi2.
ESXi, yeah, I did that as well. Same thing. So new virtual machine, and when I go to clone virtual machine to template, and then next, and then I see there VSX. I see my name hum.local, then Canada, and then that Toronto DC. And in that drop down menu, I don't see VM0203 there.
Oh. So there could be a storage issue. You can share a screenshot or share a screen quickly.
Okay, 1 second here. I just sent you the screenshot. On the left hand side, you will see there are two machines in there, VM01, 02.
Well, it's still loading.
Okay.
Strange. Why is it still loading? Okay. So did you expand the PC?
Yeah, when I expand it, there is nothing on there.
That is ESXi2. ESXi2 is powered on, but ESXi3 is powered off.
Yes.
And the two machines.
When I go to ESXi3, I can see that machine in there 01, but when I try to create the template, the system is crashing after that. But from here, it's not crashing, but I don't even see those machines in there, 02 and 03.
So storage, what about the storage? I think machine will not show if the storage is not available. So if you can take a screenshot of the storage, you see that third one here, the cylinder? Click that. You can click that and expand. And do you see all the three lawns there?
Data store 1, lawn 1, lawn 2, lawn 3 are there, yeah.
Okay, all three are there. This means that storage is okay actually. And it doesn't show any error?
No error.
So can you choose some other option? Clone virtual machine to template. So you can cancel this one, and maybe better to sign out from this vCenter, because if it's doing weird things, this means that some of the services are not working in the background. So refresh the whole browser level. You can see from my mouse pointing here. Refresh the whole browser.
Yeah.
And then try to start the process. Otherwise, sign out from the client. Which is sign out is on the top right. Then sign in again, and then try that again. Because everything else is okay and it's acting weird, then refresh or restart. That becomes the final options. So this is the sign out on the right side. This one.
Yeah. I did that because my system crashed. I can try one more time to sign out.
Actually, I had the same thing. I can't see the other machines either. I tried to clone the machine on the VSX3. it crashed them. It didn't crash my system, but it took too long. So I refreshed the navigator and gave me an error. So I did it again. It just finished. It took half an hour to get done, but it worked. But I couldn't see the other machines on Toronto either.
Oh, okay. So it's happening to both of you. Well, the thing is that first of all, it's going to consume a lot of CPU and RAM. And this is pretty strange that the virtual machines will not be showing. My suggestion is to restart just E6i2 and keep E6i3 shut down. Start E6i2 and then start the process again. Because I think you've unsuspended the E6i2, and if it's doing weird stuff like that is not explainable, it's not supposed to happen, and there are no errors showing at all. And if it's just weird, then better restart, because some of the services might not have started then when we unfrozen the hypervisor. So, like a Windows solution, restart and 50% of the problems are gone. Okay, enabling is just only E6i2. But guys, do not restart E6i1. That is the extreme condition, and we go for that because that takes forever to start the services. And if E6i1 ECSS services are not started, then not all of things work. Okay, so I have this error in exercise 2 and 3. There is a yellow warning here. This one. Permission to perform this operation was denied. Okay, that's permission. Oh, root. Why are you connecting with root? You're supposed to connect with. Why are you remotely connecting to exercise 3? You're supposed to connect with vCenter, right? You find that, or are you really going?
No, vCenter I'm okay, but also I tried with the other two, ESXi1, ESXi2. No, 2 and 3, and I don't know why I cannot enter. Normally I can enter to the three of them.
Yeah, it's because of the lockdown mode that we are all not going to be able to enter now, because we enabled the lockdown mode. So through browser, access is gone. And we don't need to actually connect to that when we can connect from vCenter. If you really have to connect, then you have to first disable the lockdown mode and then you connect. I will be showing that in one lab, how to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys. And wow, today nobody asked for a break. Okay, nobody needs a break, then let's continue. And I stopped for a few seconds just to give you time so somebody could pop up. Great. Or okay, you want to finish early? That's another thing. So here, your first name 02.
Yes, we have to finish early.
Sayed, let's have a break for 20 minutes? 40. Come back at 8:45.
I'll prefer we finish maybe by 8:30 if possible.
You want us to finish by 8:30?
Maybe 9. I don't know. Finish early.
Let's finish now, right? Oh, you're so happy now. Oh, there you go. There you go. No, we have to cover a lot, man. Guys, we have to cover a lot. It's for your own good. I mean, I would be more happier than you guys will be, because I'm so tired always. I mean, coming from 9 to 5 job. But anyway, it's good. Obviously, we have to cover all the time. But anyway, at 8 o'clock we're supposed to take a break. But since you guys are really enjoying this, so let's continue now. Okay. So here, guys, we have talked about yeah. So there's another thing called import export of virtual machine. That is also very, very interesting. Every R is a, right? I don't know French actually. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. So OVF file. So when we export a VM from vCenter or hypervisor, and we use, then the VM gets exported with the .ova extension. We can copy the exported VM to a USB drive and take it anywhere. We can import any VM with the .ova extension back into the VMware environment. Let's do that. Let's check it out. So what we need to do is that we're going to export a VM. How do we export a VM and why do we need it? Why it's easy that, okay, you want to have a backup of that and you want to put that backup in the USB drive and save that USB drive somewhere. Then you would want to export the virtual machine out of this environment. So let's go for one of the empty machines. Now, I don't need to really keep these virtual machines in the V app because we need to do other labs as well, right? So I'm going to take out these two machines from V app into the root of the hypervisor. I'm just going to drag it out of the V app and drop it on the ESXi2. And then the second machine, drag it out of the V app and drop it on top of the ESXi2. So, some of the services may not let you implement some other features. That's why it's better to have virtual machines out of the using other features. So we can understand the new features that are in the course. So once the machines are out of the V app, now I'm going to attempt to export this virtual machine out of this vCenter environment. This is the vCenter. So now remember that we are connecting from Win01 remotely to ESXi1, and inside ESXi1 hypervisor, we have a virtual machine. Inside that virtual machine, we are connected right now. So we want to export this virtual machine from inside this hypervisor's environment. So that virtual machine is actually living here, right? This virtual machine is actually living here, but remotely we are accessing this through the vCenter, and we are connected through vCenter from Win01. So Win01, vCenter, we are connected. From vCenter, we are controlling the virtual machine that is living here. So I'm going to export this virtual machine, and it's going to be exported inside the Windows environment because from there we are remotely connected. Right? So if we right-click on your first name VM02 or your first name VM03 or whichever, so it doesn't say export anywhere. So you just have to get used to the terminology here. If we go for export OVF template, they could have, they don't say export here, do say export, but it's OVF template. They could have just made it easier, export virtual machines, but no, it's OVF template. Now, it's a simple virtual machine, it's not a template. But they would like to call it through a terminology that once it is exported, is called OVF template. Machine that is, and the abbreviation for that is Open Virtualization Format. Open Virtualization Format, OVF, right? Just gonna export this virtual machine out of this environment, and then we're going to import the same virtual machine as well. So now let's export OEF template, or simply export virtual machine. That is selected. So here, and it says, oh, we're going to be exporting this with the extension OVF. This is okay. And then it says, hey, you want to export some of the machines, specific features like that identifies this virtual machine with. Like you want to generalize this machine, or you want to include the BIOS UUID, which is universal unique identification. UUID, right? So that is UUID you want to include for this machine that identifies that machine. You want to include the MAC address of this virtual machine as well, and you want to include some extra configurations that really identify that machine, as suppose this machine belongs to a certain organization, or that MAC address belongs to a certain organization, and that MAC address has been given by that organization to this virtual machine. So it relates that virtual machine to certain, you can identify that virtual machine with a unique universal ID, and then pack it back to some organization. Suppose you don't want that kind of specific information about virtual machine to be exported with the virtual machine. So just want it to be a general virtual machine with no specifics about it, other than whatever data is inside, whatever application is inside. So I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm just going to simply generalize that virtual machine and export it. I'm just going to press OK. Oh, okay. So, there's a pop-up blocker here. There was a pop-up window, another window that was supposed to open, but there's a pop-up blocker here that blocked it. I'm just going to unblock it. So I'm just going to click that here. Pop-ups blocked. So we don't want this to be blocked. So I'm just going to say, always allow pop-ups and redirects from this link or URL. I'm just going to press done here. Right? So this pop-up blocker is. If you see that, then just select this to this. All right, I'm just going to click done. And then press O and K again. Now the pop-up blocker is not blocking anything. And it says export OVF template. So now if you see these 4 pages appearing, so the first page is exporting a .vmdk file, which is the virtual disk file. The second tab actually shows .ovf file. This is that open virtualization format, or the machine is being exported in this format. And then there's a whatever memory activity that it can catch. It is in the .nvram. And then there is that manifest file, or MF manifest file, that is also there. So it's just exporting 4 files based virtual machine. So one virtual machine, when it gets exported, it is divided into 4 files, and each file just relates to some configuration of a virtual machine. But the VMDK obviously is the most critical one, because it has all the data inside, operating system inside, application inside, and critical data inside. So this is all being exported. Actually, it just shows here the folder. So I'm just going to go to this, click arrow, and then there's a show in folder. Show in folder showing there. I click that. So now this is that Windows 01 folder structure. In the downloads folder of Win01 has exported all 4 files. Now this was a empty virtual machine, so there's no size. The VMDK, or the virtual disk, is not big in size. If you had exported VM01, which had an operating system, so it would be like 12 GB or something like that, right? Or 6, 7 GB. So yes, the virtual machine has been exported, but it has been exported in the form of these 4 files. Now, when you have to import, these 4 files must be together for the import to be successful. Otherwise, it's not going to be successful. Okay, guys, so this is screenshot 2 that shows the virtual machine. Okay, where is it? Screenshot 2 and exported VM is the screenshot 2. I was going to say snapshot. Screenshot 2, which is exported VM. So the 4 files should be showing there. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. This is screenshot 2. Exported VM is the name. Screenshot 2, exported VM. I'll just go for the screenshot 2, exported VM. Exported VM, right? Okay, screenshot 2, exported VM. That is a okay, and a screenshot of the screenshot. I'll put it there.
Syed, one question.
Yeah.
So when I'm cloning VM to clone, if I go to that ESXi2 and do it, right click and new virtual machine, if I do from there, I don't see my VMs there. But if I right click on any VM and then if I go under clone and clone to virtual machine, it works from there.
Okay.
You can clone that way as well, right?
Yes, we can clone that very virtual machine. But clone to template if you want, then it will be just by that option. Clone to
So yes,
template.
there is that option as well, clone to template option as well.
That also shows there?
Yeah, that option is there. I haven't tried. I'm going to try that one as well now.
If it shows as a written option there, then yes, it will work. If it shows there, yeah. That's very weird. Maybe ultimately we need to restart the vCenter. I think you may have restarted it or not. I don't know. But
Yeah.
did? Okay. Sometimes the background services take too long and some of the things are still not working in the front end. That also happens, but if you are able to see the options that way, is good as well. Otherwise, yeah, it's supposed to be a very ideal hardware on which we are running this big software. Okay. So that's the second screenshot, and we exported the VM. Now let's just go ahead and import that as well, because we need to learn the import process as well. So I'm just going to try to do that too. I'm going to close these 4 tabs. These were created as a result of exporting the files and then downloading it into the Win01 hard disk, virtual hard disk. Now I want to import, but obviously it's the exact copy of VM02. I'm going to name it something else. As we already talked about it, that export also creates the exact copy of that. Just like I was saying, clone also create a copy of the machine. So the SID or security identifier remains the same. If you're importing this virtual machine in the same environment, which is not recommended unless you want to change then the that state of the machine, or you want to put it in a totally separate network within the VMware environment, which means that it will have no communication with this source virtual machine. Because in virtual standard switch, you can actually create VLANs as well. So then one set of virtual machines cannot communicate with another set of virtual machine. So if we go ahead and I'm going to import. So how do we import? And so we can go to the hypervisor. We can right click here, and it does not say import anywhere. So it did say export, but it does not say import. In fact, it says deploy OVF template. OVF template, we understand, would be the exported virtual machine. You want to deploy that back, so then you will use this option. So on the hypervisor level, it shows that if I go to data center level, right click, it also shows OVF template. So you can import a template from the data center level to data center level, and also, in fact, what I can do is I can import it in the hypervisor. So I exported it from E6i2. I can import it into E6i3 as well. But anyway, maybe some of the students have shut down E6i3, so I'm going to still import it in the same E6i2. So I'm going to right click here and click deploy OVF template. And it says that, hey, is it on the internet? And you can see that there is another extension that they are showing, which is .ova. That's another extension which it accepts the imported virtual machine, and you can actually import if it was exported with .ova format. So OVF and OVA both work, and both really do the same thing. Now with OVA, okay, very good. The OVA. We can import any VM with the OVA. Well, actually, I've been putting that OVA, but OVF/OVA, and also OVF/OVA. So both formats are acceptable. Import export formats. Thing is, the only difference is .ovf format exports a VM in 4 files, that as we saw. .ova format exports VM in 1 file. In 1 file extension, which is OVA. Yeah.
OVA or OVE?
So
You have written OVE. Is it okay? Because you are talking about OVA.
yeah.
But you have written OVE.
Sorry, sir. OVE. Thank you for noticing that. OVA. Yeah, there is no such thing as OVE, and thank you for noticing that. So OVA format exports VM in 1 file extension, which is .ova, while OVF exports in 4 file extensions, in 4 files, which are .ova, .mf, .nvram, and .vmdk. These are the 4 file extensions in which a virtual machine gets exported. Well, OVA, if it used to be available in both extensions in older versions of VMware, but in this newer version, they only allow OVF way of exporting and importing. Okay, let's now go ahead and import the virtual machine. So I already went for that deploy OVF template. And then obviously the files are locally available. So I'm just going to click the local file and then upload files. Now guys, here you have to make sure that you are importing all 4 files. Then it's going to go ahead. Otherwise, it's not even going to move to the next page. Just going to click the upload files and I'll make sure that all 4 files are uploaded here. Then it will move ahead. I'm going to click upload files and does it let me select all 4? That's good. And then open. So make sure it's nothing extra file is there. Otherwise, it will give you an error. All right. I'm just going to click open. And 4 files are there. If any one file is missing, some extra wrong file is there as well. So it's going to give you an error. So 4 files are there and I'm going to click next. And now it says that, okay, what name you want to give. So I'm just going to go for OVF. It's exported, imported virtual machine. So your first name VM02-OVF. Just going to click next. For DC, yes, and it's the hypervisor 2 that is only available inside Tor DC or data center. I'm going to click next here as well. Okay, so if it was a very big machine, like it had an operating system plus a big application, obviously it's going to take a lot of time. So it just says that, okay, this is what's being discovered and the information about the machine, host certificate present, download size unknown, size on disk available is this. It says 90 GB thick provision, but we can ignore that. We know that it is thin provision. And I'm just going to click next. So I'll go for no particular reason to 1, 3. You can just select on 1, 2 as well, one of those. And next. And yeah, that's it. So it's just saying that the destination network is this VM network. So I'm just going to click next. And finito. Now it's going to import that virtual machine to the it was an empty machine, so it went fast. If it was having an operating system, then it would have taken more time. That's the import and export. Also pretty straightforward. You just need to remember the terminology of the virtual machine, and then you're good. Okay, so now once that is finished, then we go for the big topic. That is virtual standard and switching. All right. So about virtual standard switch. Okay, has shared a picture. What's happening here? Failed to log in. The session. So what were you trying to do, Mohammed, at this?
I try to export some pop-ups, pages pop up and disappear. And the first time it gave me that message.
To log in. Did you remove the pop-up blocker?
Yes.
Okay, so you opened it. Then better sign out, sign in, and then try again. Application exception. Failed to
Okay.
log in. Yeah, so sign out, sign in from administrator, and let's see. So refresh the whole browser.
Okay.
Let me know. Okay. Okay, so whatever we can cover about virtual standard switch, and then we're gonna continue next class as well. So virtual standard switch. We talked about network availability, download links. Oh, today we did not have a break. Okay. Virtual standard switch is available. It's installed by default in a new hypervisor. When you install it, ESXi, it's by default there, and it has many important components. So we can add multiple physical NICs. We can have multiple port groups, which offers VMs to connect to each other and to the outside world, and it offers a VM kernel port / adapter, also call it adapter, which offers networking services to all the advanced features like vMotion, fault tolerance FT, vSAN, etc. Right? So we can create multiple virtual standard switches. As well, we can regulate the traffic of different switches, each which can have multiple physical NICs. There are a lot of features available in a switch as well as in port groups. So lots of load balancing, security, and high availability features are available in the virtual standard switch or vSwitch and port groups. So these are some of the components, and these are, some of the this is some of the information that is available for us virtual standard switch. But let's just explore the virtual standard switch as well. So if we go back to our environment, so here, if we go to ESXi2, then we see here summary, we see here monitor, configure, permissions, VMs, resource pools, data stores, networks, and updates, right? So if you go to configure, that's where you see storage, you see networking, virtual machines. We're going to be clicking ESXi2, then we're going to click configure, I'm going to click networking. or we're going to go directly to virtual switches, this one. The virtual switches, ESXi2 configure virtual switches, right? So that shows you all the virtual switches, or the one virtual switch that we have here. Other thing is, I don't need the left side of it, so I'll just close this. If you want to again see the left side, you can also do this. And it will again appear. I'll just close it just to make the screen bigger. And so what happens here, or what are we watching here? What are we seeing here? So first of all, I want to make this screen bigger, so I'm just going to drag this down as well. And now this is a virtual switch, and always the switch names are defined by the VMware. You cannot really change the switch name. The first switch is always vSwitch 0. If you want to create a second switch, you won't be able to rename a switch. It will just automatically be vSwitch 1. Then the third switch will be vSwitch 2. Fourth switch will be vSwitch 3 and onwards. So the switch diagram shows what's configured there. So this is the switch, and the right side of the switch is the physical side. The left side of the switch is the software side. So the right side here, the physical adapters, this is the actual physical network adapter, network card that is connected here. Right? And we can add more physical adapters by clicking the Manage Physical Adapters, or we can add it to Add Networking as well. I'm visiting those areas as well. But then there is Management Network VM kernel port, and there is a port group called VM Network. So if I annotate, this is the physical side, physical network adapter, but this is here the VM kernel port, and this is here the port group. So VM kernel port, as I said, that VM kernel port lets or offers networking to any of the advanced features. So one of the advanced features is management network. So what's the purpose of management network? Management network VM kernel port lets us remotely connect from the vCenter to the hypervisor, from the vCenter to the hypervisors, thanks to the VM kernel port called management network. Because of this, we are remotely able to connect and manage the hypervisors. If this port is down, or if the VM kernel port is not working, you cannot remotely connect from the vCenter to the hypervisor and manage it. Thanks to this, we are able to remotely connect and manage the hypervisors from vCenter. That's the one thing. This is the VM kernel port that is by default there. Second thing is the port group that is there. What's the purpose of a port group? Port group is the only purpose of port group. Wow, my writing, seriously. I am writing with a mouse here, so I'll just purchase a pen and use that. Okay, you know, the writing pens. Port group. So port group. The purpose of a port group is to offer networking to virtual machines. Oh man, I don't want to. I wrote it already in the slide. Offer networking. Wow, that's really bad writing. To VMs. So one port group is always automatically created when a new hypervisor is deployed. A new switch called vSwitch 0 is created. One VM kernel port automatically is created, so you can remotely connect to the hypervisor and manage it remotely. And one port group is always created because whatever virtual machines you create, they have to have some kind of network, right? So whatever set of virtual machines I created, they're all connected to the virtual switch. And in the virtual switch, they are actually connected to the port group called VM network. So that default port group is always named as VM network. And right now you can see that there are 6 virtual machines there. And yes, those 6 virtual machines are these here. And they're all connected to the vSwitch 0 with the help of a port group called the network. So the purpose of port group is to provide networking to virtual machines. So these are the these are the very critical sections of networking, obviously. So the virtual switch has one physical network interface card, but we can attach multiple network interface cards, which we will be doing to both supervisors for best practices and for being a NIC team out of that as well. So for the switch, what we can do is we can add second switch to create a NIC team, right? NIC team is network interface card team. So once the NIC teams are created, when 2 NICs or 2 or more NICs are teamed together, so then they offer load balancing and failover, LBFO, not LCBO, it's LBFO, right? LBFO is load balancing and failover. So if there are 2 NICs, then they will load balance the traffic, will divide the traffic among each other, 2 or more NICs, and if one NIC is down, so its traffic fails over to the other NIC. LBFO, load balancing and failover. So we can add all this there. We can create multiple port groups. So one port group for sales department virtual machines, second port group for marketing department virtual machines, right? So we can create many port groups there as well. Maybe you want to create 10 port groups there, 20 port groups. So port groups offer separation of virtual machines for the purpose of organizing virtual machines. So this VM network port group, you can rename it to sales PG. And then the second port group, you can create marketing PG. And that's exactly what we're going to do to know that how to create a port group and how to move virtual machines from one port group to another. And also, we're going to add one more network. Remember that I asked you to add the 9 more network cards to A6i2 and A6i3. So we're going to be adding one network card from there to the physical switch, virtual switch actually, to 0 of both hypervisors, A6i2 and A6i3, right? So overall, that's the introduction to the vSwitch, but let's just go for a bit more, deeper look. Okay, so if we go back here, so first, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to follow the best practices, and we're going to add another physical network card to this virtual switch. Okay? What we can do is we can go to this manage physical adapters. We can do the same thing from add networking as well, but we'll go later there. Right now, what we can do is we can click the manage physical adapters. Let's click that. And you can see that there is one gimmick there, and there are 3 sections here: active adapters, standby adapters, unused adapters. But where are the other adapters? So we'll have to go to the plus sign here, and the first physical network adapter card is there already. I'm just going to click the plus sign here, and there are the rest of the 9 network adapters that we added before. I'm just going to go for VMNIC 1 because it starts from VMNIC 0. So each network adapter actually supports the Cisco Discovery Protocol and Cisco Link Layer Discovery Protocol. Those who are coming from CCNA and CCNP background, you would know those protocols there. And raw That's not wireless memory. And that's remote direct memory access. Remote direct memory access is not supported on this physical adapter. So these are some of the features that are available for a physical adapter. Okay. So I'm just going to select this VMNIC1 and press O and K. Now there are two adapters here. So both can be active adapters, which means that they could both receive traffic, send traffic, and this means that they can do load balancing, right? But if you want to put one adapter on standby and one active, you can do that too. So if this is selected and I press the down arrow blue one, so it goes to the other section. Now it cannot receive and send traffic because it's on standby. That means that if the Unix 0 somehow crashes, not available, not receiving traffic, then standby will become automatically active adapter. If you want to go for LBFO scenario, load balancing and failover scenario, then you can just temporarily, I'm just going to temporarily show that, but then I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to go for plus sign and just add another network adapter. Press OK. It's already selected there. So there are two adapters as active adapters, which means they are doing load balancing, dividing the traffic among each other, while one is on standby. So this section is really supporting LB or load balancing, and the other section, network adapter, is supporting FO, failover, right? So this means that if one of the adapter crashes, then standby adapter will become active and load balancing will still keep on going. So with three network adapters, you can ideally implement LBFO. Otherwise, with two adapters, it's just load balancing going on, but failover kind of it's not the ideal environment for failover, although the other adapter can also just take the whole traffic of the first adapter if in case the first adapter crashes. Right? Okay. Anyway, I don't need to have three adapters here. I'm just going to remove this unit 2. So I select that and there's a cross sign. And I do want this to be the active adapter as and well. I'm just going to press blue arrow here. It goes up there. Then I'm going to go again down two times, and then there's an unused adapter just to show you that there's an unused adapter. This means obviously it's not even on standby. This means that if you do need that, you have to manually put it to either standby or manually put it to active adapter. Unused really just means it's not going to be used. It's just waiting there to be manually moved ahead. Right? So now I'm just going to put it back to active adapters. VMNIC 0, VMNIC 1. It would make a NIC team automatically, and it's going to be used for load balancing. Right? I'm just going to press OK now because I have the two adapters there for this virtual switch 0 of hypervisor E6i2. I need to do the same thing on E6i3 as well. I'm going to press OK here. I'm going to show here now. Yep, there you go. So the two adapters are ready. I'm going to go for the E6i3 and do the same thing. So we have consistent configurations on both hypervisors. I'm going to click that E6i3, do the drill now. I'm just going to go to the manage physical adapter here as well. And go to the plus sign here as well. Select, it's already selected the next adapter. Just simply press O and K. And then OK again. All right, so both hypervisors have consistent configurations. I'm just going to go back to E6i2. That's the first thing here. Excuse me. Yes, we can add adapters for balancing and failover, and that's the best practice as well. Now, second thing is the port group. The port group or 6 virtual machine is there. Right? So if I expand these virtual machines, clicking on this arrow, so now you can see all the virtual machines showing there, and you can actually see the design of the port, the ports in the switch, right? So our typical port group supports 128 ports, or 128 virtual machines could be connected to one port group, right? If you have that kind of CPU and memory as well in your underlying hardware and the storage support that many virtual machines. Otherwise, typically there are 20 virtual machines, 30 virtual machines, 40 virtual machines. Depends on whatever hardware and you have underlying and what kind of CPU and memory you have given to the virtual machines. Okay, so if we go for the 3 dots here, so there are view settings for the virtual machines. If I click the any virtual machines view settings here, so it just gives the MAC address of the virtual machine and the adapter type. So that's all it shows. But now what we can do is we can create more. So we're going to create 2 port groups just to show you how to create port groups and that they are used for organization of virtual machines as well. So we're going to create 2 port groups. Then 3 virtual machines will be in one port group and other 3 virtual machines will be on the other port group. So just to show how it all really works. So we'll pretend that one port group belongs to sales department and one port group belongs to marketing department. So how do we create port groups? For this, we're going to go to add networking in vSwitch 0. And then this is where we're going to keep coming back for many of the features. So vehicle network adapter is used for introducing advanced features. We're not doing that now. We're going to go for introducing a new port group. We could have added the second physical adapter from here as well. We did it from the other button. So we're going to go for the middle option here, which is virtual machine port group for a standard switch. And click next. You want to create a port group on the same switch, or you want to create a new switch and then create a new port group there. So I'm saying that no, I want to create the port group on the same switch. Right? Browse. If I click the browse button, that's the only switch we have. So select that and press O and K. Oh, it's the same thing. And then click next. And then the port group label. So it says that, hey, you want to label this port group? Obviously, guys, here, one critical thing to understand here is that you must have some kind of a good naming convention for the port groups. Because, when there are 20, 30, 40 port groups there, then it gets confusing that which virtual switch the port group is coming from. Which virtual switches the port group is coming from. So, the thing is that virtual machines only see port groups. Virtual machine does not see the physical adapter. Virtual machine does not see the virtual switch. It only sees groups. So VMs only see port groups. VMs do not see / directly connect to vSwitch 0. They don't even know vSwitch 0 exists or not. They only see the attached port group to the virtual switch. So VMs do not see directly connect to vSwitch 0 and also physical adapter. So virtual machines cannot see or directly connect to a physical adapter. They cannot see and directly connect to a virtual switch. what they see or directly connect to is port groups. That's it. So that's why when you're creating port groups, you need to name them properly. What does that mean? Properly means which virtual switch is this port group connected to. Suppose you have 5 virtual switches, and each virtual switch has 10 port groups. You have 50 port groups. Virtual machine only sees groups. If you don't name them properly, you won't know which virtual switch, which port group is connected to. Okay, you're going to see that when we create that. So right now, this port group is connected to vSwitch 0, right? So VS0 attached. Suppose this port group is created for the virtual machines of the sales department. So sales DEPT PG group. Right? So it's coming from this switch and it belongs to sales department virtual machines. Right? And you can name it anything you want. But be sharp in the naming convention. Okay, second thing is VLAN ID. So VLAN ID, either it says 0 or 4095. So 0 means no VLANs and 4095 that if you have VLAN 2, VLAN 3, VLAN 4 here, so if you select this 4095, so it's going to connect to any VLAN virtual machines. Virtual machines belonging to this port group will connect to any, suppose there are 3 port groups, right? One port group has VLAN 2, the port group has VLAN 3, the third port group has this 2095. Man, let me just create that. So suppose you have port group, we're creating another port group, right? So suppose you have port group 1 and port group 2 and port group 3. So port group 3 has 4095 VLAN given here. Port group 1 has VLAN 2. Port group 2 has VLAN 3. So the VMs of VLAN 2 cannot communicate with VMs of VLAN 3. VMs of VLAN 3 cannot communicate with VMs of VLAN 2. That's how VLANs work. If the VLANs are different in number, virtual machines attached to one number cannot communicate with the virtual machines attached to the other number. 4095 can connect to any number VLAN. So the virtual machines connected to this VLAN can connect to VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. VLAN 2 and 3 between each other cannot communicate with each other. But VLAN 2 and 3 can communicate with if the VLAN number is 4095. It's just the specialty of this. Okay. So that's the explanation of this. All right. So okay, so I'm gonna still stick to 0 VLAN, and VS0 is coming from the virtual switch 0, and this is the name. I'm just gonna click next, and that's it. That's all the information it needs. So that's an empty group that we are creating now. Finish. And then we're going to create another port group. So I'm just going to click that and networking again. And networking again, right? I'm going to go for the same virtual machine port group for a standard switch option. Next. vSwitch 0. Same vSwitch, I'm going to create another port group. Next. I'm going to properly name it. It is also coming from vSwitch 0 dash That's it. Also coming from research 0, PS0, and it's suppose it's belonging to marketing department, G, and it also belongs to VLAN 0, so they can communicate with each other. So yeah, that's it. This port group also belongs to research 0, right? So that's why VS0. Finish. Now there are 2 port groups created. Here, I'll make this screen full screen so we could see that too. This is the full screen icon. So I can see 2 more port groups created to the virtual switch, but the virtual machines there are 0 and 0. We need, so let's just divide 4 virtual machines, 2 virtual machines to marketing department group and 2 virtual machines to sales department port group. So let's go for that. I go for first 2 virtual machines or whichever 2 virtual machines. I'm going to go there, the virtual machine itself, and I need to go to the settings of this virtual machine. So right click and go to edit settings. Now where is the networking setting? It has to be connected to the network adapter. Remember I said that virtual machines only see groups, they do not see VM kernel adapter. Oh, they don't see physical adapter. They don't see virtual switch. They only see groups. So network adapter, I'm going to select that. It says, oh, the default group is VM network connected to vSwitch 0, but you can see the other port groups by clicking the browse button. So here it is. Just the port groups is showing, it's not showing anything else. Not the virtual standard switch, not the physical adapter. Now, when you create a distributed switch, it will show that. Okay. So here, 2 machines will be connected to marketing department and to the sales department. So I'm just going to select this marketing department for this virtual machine and press OK. So that's how we change port group. I'm just going to press OK here. I'll go for the other virtual machine and do exactly the same thing here as well. Right click, hit settings. And go to browse in the network adapter. This is also connected to marketing department. Okay. I'll go for the next 2 machines and connect them to the sales department group. All belong to the same vSwitch 0. Just going to go for that. I click here. Go to edit settings. Network adapter. Browse. Right, sales department. I'm going to press OK. Now we know the drill. It's pretty straightforward. I'll go for one more VM. Right click, edit settings, network adapter, and just choose the next sales department. Okay. Well, now we need to check that how does it look like on the virtual switch 0. So where is that? I'm going to go to ESXi2, and then I'm going to go to configure, which is this. I'm going to go to virtual switches. Now what I see is instead of 6 machines showing here in the default port group VM network, now there's 3 machines showing there, and 2 machines are showing in marketing department. If I expand that, the 2 machines that I moved to marketing department, 2 machines are showing in sales department. Right. That said, still, these machines are all connected to one vSwitch 0, and they are all sending and receiving traffic to these 2 poor guys, the 2 physical adapters. If I select this, so you can see that both adapters get highlighted. It's like this port group, both adapters get highlighted. This means that they have been teamed together and they are 7 teamed together, right? and they are available for the sending, receiving of the traffic of all the virtual machines belonging to the 3 port groups here. So that's the port groups that we can create, multiple port groups. Then we can also go for the virtual switch 0. So we can also create multiple switches, and so I'm just gonna click that add networking. We're gonna go till 9:30, and then you can upload the solution of this solution snapshots. I'm gonna click that add networking again, and then we're gonna create one more switch here, right? So just to see what's the process of creating another switch, and when we're creating another switch, so the benefit is that you can add more adapters, different adapters to a switch. So I'm just going to select still. In order to create a new switch, you still have to go for middle options here. Virtual machine port group for a standard switch. Next. This time I'm not going for existing switch. I'm going to go for a new standard switch here. That's a good thing from Chris. There's no offer going on for Infosys. Okay. Anyway, so new standard switch. MTU is maximum transmission unit. So this is the burst size, the payload size of a packet that is being sent. We normally don't touch that unless you have a very good reason for that. So I'm going to click next. Now this is a new switch that you're creating, right? So it's asking for extra network cards here. Assign adapters, I'm just going to go for 2 more adapters. The adapters that were connected to the first switch, obviously we cannot use those to connect to the second switch. We're going to go for 2 new adapters. So press shift and select both. 2 adapters selected here for the new switch. When you create an adapter, it's compulsory to create a port group as well. Now this port group is connected to switch 1. So we're going to be quickly following the naming dimensions. VSwitch1, VS1.
The network card added active. Okay.
Okay. New standard switch, and then 2 network adapters added to that, and it's VS1. Suppose it's belonging to administration department. It doesn't have to be department, could be anything, anyone. Admin -DEPT -PG. You don't have to even write PG. It is PG. It is understood. Just for explanation. Okay. So VS1 admin department PG, and next. That's it. Finished. We know the drill. But this is a totally separate switch. Oh, where is it? If I go further down, this is the vSwitch1. If I go up, vSwitch 0. If I collapse that vSwitch 0, now we can see this switch that we created. And you can see that vSwitch1 is the name that has been by default given. Okay. Now, if I just expand vSwitch1, then yes, there is one port group. Port group is a must because obviously how would virtual machine get the networking if port group is not there, right? Port group is a must when you create a new switch. So this is a new switch. That's how it looks like. There's one port group, but you can see that there is no VM kernel adapter here because vSwitch 0 already has the management network VM kernel port. So remotely from vCenter or from any browser, we can connect to this hypervisor because of this VM kernel port. So we don't need it on every new switch. We do need port group because that's the primary job of a virtual switch, to provide networking to the virtual machines, right? So That's how we create another switch, and then there is that port group that gets created automatically, and the best practice is to attach two network cards switch, because suppose you add three or two or three port groups there and maybe 10 virtual machines there, so all virtual machine traffic will be coming and going through these two network cards. So we separate the traffic of these virtual machines to these network cards, and then suppose there are more virtual machines, then you can just put their burden of traffic on two new network cards here. And it also helps in administration of traffic. So guys, this will continue. There is a much longer discussion about the features of a switch that we're going to go through. So features of a switch and features of the port group. And then we're going to go for migration of virtual machines, and then we're going to go for distributed switch. So those two major topics we're going to cover in the next class. So right now, this is screenshot number 3, where you can just take a screenshot of this and just say vSwitch or virtual switch. Virtual standard switch is the name of the screenshot 3. Take a screenshot here. Virtual standard switch is the name of the screenshot. Take a screenshot. Virtual standard switch is the name of the screenshot. And then just upload the slide to Week 9, which I haven't created yet. I'll be creating now. So screenshot 3 is virtual standard switch. All right.
Yeah, whenever I'm in ESXi02, I'm selecting plus sign for add adapter. Then it is showing me there are no free network adapters to add to the switch.
But why? Did you add 9 network adapters to ESXi2 and 9 extra to ESXi3?
Yeah, I have added both. I added 9 networks in both.
Then they should show. When you click the green plus sign, so if you right click on it, go ahead and right click on ESXi2, go to settings. Did you see these many adapters there in ESXi2?
Right now it is not showing.
Right now, I think maybe it is possible that you may have added to ESXi1 and 3. So we don't need the 9 adapters on ESXi1, but we need it on ESXi2. So you can just know how to add that. Click add and then select adapter and do it just 9 times. It's very enjoyable task. Just kidding. So yeah, just add 9 adapters and then you will be able to see.
Okay, it is I will add. I can add after shutdown, right?
Yeah. Yes, you can add after shutdown as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Alright, guys. So right click and suspend and upload. Suspend guest.
But you said at the end we have to shut down.
No, suspend for a few classes and then shut down.
Okay.
Okay, so this is going to suspend. Then I will right click that that remote desktop. If it lets me. Wow, there is. Also, slowing down. You know, hope I'm on remote machine, not my laptop. Okay, cool. All right, I'll just then upload, guys. I'm just gonna stop that.